number ranges, set up number ranges for all plan versions. Let me pause the recording. Okay, personnel management, organizational management. SPRO. Personnel management, organizational management, basic settings, maintain number ranges. Personnel management, organizational management, basic settings, maintain number ranges. Set up number assign for all plan versions. Now this all plan version, basically your version will be your customer's version. That will see what versions do we have. Okay, the group is NUMRG. Value abbreviation is MT, which means it will be used by all plan versions. Now, what are plan versions? We'll see that in the next steps. Okay, subgroup INNR is for external number assignment, number range maintenance. Subgroup, okay. Documents, no change document available. Intervals, okay. In that $, we have two number ranges, which is one is EX for external, and that's why external is checked, and internal is starting with 50 going till 999. And of course, this can be edited as well, and this can be extended as well, or we can have a different number range starting from after this number. Now, next step is WPB and WAP. WPB, WPV is current plan is 01. This is the plan that we'll be working on, but once you are actually working with a customer, that customer will have their own dedicated explicit version, and that will be one version across the landscape, because we have multiple, because this is a practice server, and that will be an exclusive, a mutually exclusive access basically. And this version basically has all the configuration. So over here we have 01, which is by default given by the practice server. 01 is active. As we can see, this is active, but current is not active. Current means that the version, if any configuration is stored in any version, it will not be this version because it is not current, so we have to make it current as well. For that, we'll have to go for OOPV/N OOPV. Oh, sorry. OOAP. OOPV, OOAP. Okay, 01 group is this group, integration plan version with active plan version, OOPV. Okay, this is active but not current, and this will be our current version. Next step is PSO0. Okay, choose that version. Current plan, we can have multiple plans over here. Domino's, KFC, Lawrenceburg. Okay. So we'll go with current plan. Okay, now let's go and check OOPV. Now it is current. Now all your configuration will be directed to this current plan. I hope this is clear. Let's go to the next part. PO10. Okay, the plan version, by default, it's picking up current plan. This is where all our units configuration, everything will be set up under this plan. So one version is allowed per setup and one license is allowed per company. Okay, we already defined the enterprise structure. That was the first thing that we did. Okay, enterprise structure, personal areas and personal sub areas were also set up, and the employee groups as well. Let's revisit our configuration again and let's see what are our employee groups and employee subgroups. Then we'll take a snapshot of that enterprise structure, definition, HRM, personal areas, okay, our personal area was Caltex. Where is it? Okay, Caltex is here. What I'll do, okay, I'll take a screenshot. Caltex. Now this will become a reference for you for your practice work. Okay. Let's go back and let's check the same sub areas, personal sub areas. Now personal areas are geographical locations and some areas are additional locations within personal areas. Okay. Then we have employee groups. Okay, Caltex was CLTX, ELTX. Okay, Caltex factory and Caltex office. And we'll take a snapshot again. So that whenever we reference back to our configuration, we just don't have to memorize it. We'll have a reference over here. Okay, and save it. So this will become your go-to reference. Okay, SPRO assignments. Did we actually go into assignments? I don't know. I can't remember. So let's revisit our configuration again. Okay, now enterprise structure, assignments, human resource management. If this node is assigned, which is personal area to company code, then we can assume that other organizational units have been assigned as well. CLTX company code. No, this has not been assigned. So we will assign a company code. Let's see what was our company code. I can't recall that. Okay, financial accounting, assign company code to company. First, we actually defined those CL, Cortex, Dubai. Come on. Okay, search for it. Caltex. Okay, Caltrix USA. We'll assign this. Just a second, I'll control this lagging. Just a second. Okay, enter. I hope the server is not disconnecting. Oh, I guess the server is going down.
यहाँ तो चल रही है, नेट स्लो हो गया होगा है।
Enter. Save. Okay, next step is assign. Did we assign a controlling area? I don't know. Let's see. Assign plant to company code. Let's do this. Text. Save. Okay. Sales distribution, assign sales org, company code. Caltex. Text. Okay, it's done. Assign purchasing org company. It's not there. Purchase org is not made. Okay, good enough. Logistics, plant maintenance. Okay, human resources, assignment of personnel area, company code. Okay. Ethics. Okay, Galactics. Country grouping will be 10, which is US. Okay.
How do we figure that out?
Okay, how do you figure that out? I'll just let you know. We have range of defaulted country grouping. Now, every country has its own set of payroll laws, rules, and those laws and standards have been collected in SAP. Okay. And this is the country grouping assigned by SAP. 01 is for Germany because they're a German product. 10th is USA, and we have various countries, the standard of which are available in SAP for payroll, for taxation, okay, as per the laws of that region and country. Okay, so these many countries are covered, and some countries are covered with alphabetical legends, and some are covered with numeric legends. Okay, so we'll take USA as a default. And I'll just take a snapshot of this. Save. Now, employee subgroups. Yes, that's the next important step. Okay, employee subgroups to employee group. Now, our employee subgroup was, any ideas what was that? Can't recall. I mean, these are some important steps. The personal areas, personal sub areas. Okay, we haven't actually reached that point. I hope it's the Caltex. Okay, and we have B1, B2, hourly worker, monthly worker, hourly salaried, monthly salaried, B3, B4, or B1, B2, monthly salaried, hourly salaried, monthly worker. I guess it was B3 and B4, but we'll take a snapshot of all this. Okay, save. This is done. Yeah. Okay, the assignment is done. The assignment part is done. Let's go back to our presentation. Okay, now that was the end of chapter lecture 5. Now we have chapter 6. Now this is all conceptual. These are some concepts that I'll share with you. Organizational structures are different for every company. Even factories will be different from the corporate offices. Okay, the layout is basically done by directors in workforce management, and SAP HCM consultants know better how to build such structures for companies to sustain. Otherwise, companies will be unsustainable. And within these structures, we have multiple levels of reporting, multiple levels of managing, and these are defined within the organization. Okay. The plan version, we've already discussed it. We've already seen that. Okay. Then we have units, organizational units. these will be defined within the system, like jobs, position, cost centers, persons. Jobs are basically job descriptions. Positions are basically tangible positions that are held by people, by persons. Okay. Organizational units, the layouts within departments, within the whole structure will be defined in SAP. Okay. That will be done through P410. 13th slide is about the job. As I've already told you, the job basically is the description, a charter of what position is supposed to achieve. Okay. Positions are basically held and occupied by real people who are actually following the job description. Okay. Cost centers basically are allocated to positions to record and register the expenses, the monthly expenses for salaries, for overheads, for other charges or reserves that are being used up, and a cost center is then used for payroll. Persons, basically, these are real people who will be having an association with the organization, and their details will be shared with the company and stored in the company. So organization and staffing will be a complex structure. SAP consultant will be responsible to maintain. The organization staffing will be a network that an SAP consultant will maintain. The relationships, again, are a part of a consultant's area of responsibility. And the units, organizational units will be created, jobs will be created, and each job will describe the position, and positions will be occupied by a person, a real person. A task will be a part of the job description. Okay. The tree structure, of course, again, the layout of a structure is of two types, top down or bottom up. The B and A, we've already seen that, okay? The top down, the bottom up, and it's basically for establishing the reporting relationship, okay? The structures can be lean, can be simple, can be complex, and the jobs, again, define the positions, and these are, again, established using the various types that we have. A and B is for reporting up and down, right? Top down, bottom up, okay? That's how these relationships will be maintained and established with SAP. Organizational plan, again, I've told you, these will be made by SAP consultants, okay? And the tree view, of course, we'll also see that how trees are basically made. These trees, we will actually have a view of this, and we will just see this if we have some time left, and we'll be maintaining all of this. I hope the server has not signed out, because idle time basically signs it out. Otherwise, we are done with the EC02. I hope it works. It responds back. It has gone into hibernation mode. So let's do it in the next one. Okay. So today what we are going to study is the depth and the expanse of info types. There are like numerous and infinite number of info types that we have. And for that, what we'll do, we'll just go for action. SM30, T58A, T582A, find maintenance, dialog, okay. Info types list, personal administration. Personal administration. this. Main display. Okay, so we'll have these many info types. As we can see over here, basic pay 0008, most famous. And in this, there are settings, there are configuration controls that can be changed if we do actually understand how these are designed. For example, time constraint, if you look at it. Now, time constraint, we discussed yesterday, there can be overlaps or no overlaps, or record may include gaps, no overlappings, and things like that. Selection with start. Record with valid days between entry date. Between entry date and CPU date. Okay. Now these settings.
Unable to understand the settings. Can you please elaborate about everything in general attributes, just selection?
Basically, this is where you actually set the features of your info types. Now, in basic pay, of course, you will record and register the salaries or the wages of the employees. And it's basically these tables that are working at the back end of this info type. So info type in itself is just what a placeholder, but it's the tables that are operating and control the basic pay info type and dictating the info type. So we have settings over here for the screens, how it will actually look like. And these are a little bit technical for the ABAP consultants, but for us, it's features like this, these attributes, time constraints, where it can have gaps or not, okay? Or how we can actually save this info type, as it said that this can be saved from the CPU date and the entry date, how you can actually modulate these info types. So there are many info types. The purpose here is to see how many info types do we have. For example, we have this power of attorney. If you look at this again, there are tables to be seen which dictate the info types. So these tables will have the fields and the records to dictate 0030 powers of attorney, and we can use this in the master data. So info types are basically used in the master data. Like we have appraisals, communication, garnishments. Info type is used in the range of personal administration. Okay. And we have benefit plans like 0167. For example, 016. Now these are universal. 0167 health plans, insurance plans. Then we have 0211. 0211 is basically beneficiary in case of divorce, the alimony, or in case of death, who will be the beneficiary for the assets to be distributed, the dependents, the spouse, that is, and what is the abbreviation? Consolidated Omnibus Reconciliation Act. Okay. Garnishment documents. Now, garnishment documents is when if the employee is in a legal battle, okay, what will be the settlement percentages? Everything is basically documented and it's established through these info types. Basic pay, we've already seen that. Okay, let's go and check PA30. Okay, person 200, enter. have recurring payments. We don't have an info type recurring payments right now. We've just had some very basic. Okay. If you want to see the recurring payments, SM30, maintain 0014, recurring payments and deductions. Okay. Now again, you can actually have a look what tables are basically functioning at the back end. Okay. Then we have info types for additional payments. The range of info types, I explained this earlier, that from range 0 to 099, it's personal administration and benefits. 10 to 19 is organizational management. 20299 is time management, then recruitment, and then custom info type. If you want to look at custom info type, let's have a look. We don't have any custom types made on this system. Okay. 4 is recruitment. Anything related to recruitment will be in the 4,000 range. Okay. What kind of taxation? For taxation, of course, we have features like state, district tax, city tax, and for taxation, I guess 207. 2007. Attendance quotas, taxation. It's missing somewhere, but that will be an info type somewhere used in the payroll. Okay. 021 is family members, or 0207. Yeah, taxation is work 0207. Work tax, withholding tax, employment, unemployment state. This is again another info type that we'll incorporate in our payroll. Okay. 021 is family members and dependents. Let's go to SPRO, personnel management global settings. Okay, personnel management, global settings, and personnel management. Organizational management, basic settings, maintain number ranges, maintain number ranges. So we have a number range over here and maintain number range. Intervals. Now these intervals will be used to maintain your master data. Okay. Organizational info types SM30. Okay. SM30. And we have T7. T777I. Okay, info types T78T, maintain. So these are organizational management info types. 1000 to 199. Department, cost planning, standard profiles. Now this is what HCM consultant will be working on. For example, let's say a room reservation, time constraint. Time constraint will be overlapping or no gaps. Info types per object type. Okay. And this is a little bit technical, but of course you'll get the hang of it once we start configuring the info types in lectures ahead. So that was it for today. Okay. Today today we are going into the system again, and OOPV target plan version. We'll see what this is, OOPV. Now, this transaction basically is the landscape for SAP HCM for your customer. Now, as you can see over here, we have a current plan, test BP. We can have our own companies. Okay. For example, new entries. And I would say okay, Caltex, because Caltex is our customer, so we will save it. Pakistan blue box. Okay. Okay. Caltex SAP HCM config. T81, this is our batch. T81. Okay. Now, this is not active or current. Okay. What is active is the current plan. So for your configuration to take place in your landscape of Caltex, it has to be active and current as well. Okay. For that, OOAP /n OOAP. Now this is a transaction code. This is the transaction code over here. It's a 01. We will go for check for plan version assignment to see if TP is basically target group that we actually configured in the other server is active or not. Okay. So we go to the next step, which is PSO0. PSO0 plan version. Now we have Caltex transfer. Now OOPV. Over here, what do we have? Current is Caltex, but it's not active yet. So for active, we'll have to again go for OOAP. Okay, there are no values. For some reason, the screen is basically out for that. I'll save it. Okay, data already saved. I'll go for OOPV. Okay, it's current and it's not till yet active. Okay, so how do we make this active? We'll go for OOAP. And over here, we'll use CL, which is Caltex. Now, why are we actually doing this? Because we want to configure our HCM in Caltex landscape. Okay, in our HCM Caltex landscape. Now we'll go for OOPV. Now it is active and current. I hope you get the point. Okay. Now it is active and current. Now you can start your configuration for HCM. Now TP is basically target store. This is another client. we were working on. So it is their configuration. Okay, now let's go to the front end first and human resources. We have the whole node over here, the path, organizational management, expert mode. Now this is your server and not my server. Okay, expert mode, PO10 organizational unit. Now if you see, we cannot see the technical names. What we'll do more, settings. Options. Menu. Edit. Settings. Yeah. Settings. Display technical names. Okay. Human resources. Organizational management. Expert mode. Now we can see the transaction codes as well. And if you want to see the transaction codes elsewhere, it's from here. Session manager, click it. And we have the T code over here, session manager. And who is the user? VAUSNET SAP, VAUSNET SAP. Okay. I hope this clears quite a lot of doubts for our guests who have joined us. Okay. So it's our own server. Organizational units. Now, in organizational unit, we'll create a date from 01/2024. Okay. And the plan version. If you see, the plan version is Caltex. So anything that will be created will be based in this Caltex business HCM plan. Okay. Period will be 01/01/2024. Okay. And then object and create. We have selected the object and we create the info type. Organizational unit will be auto-assigned. This will be a numerical assignment by the system until we actually create any. Okay. Object abbreviation TG. Object abbreviation will be Caltex. Okay. Caltex global. Okay. Now this is the master data that we are creating, and that is the top organizational unit that we're creating. Okay. And the system will assign a number. Organizational unit, Caltex, and it reports to none because this is the top line organization. Okay. Okay. Now we go back and we create organizational unit. And here the relationship types. Now, what are the relationship types? I hope the list. Oh, it's getting some error for some reason. It's the server error, not our error. It does have two entries. It is A or B, which is top line reporting or bottom up reporting, A or B. Okay. Reports to or is line supervisor law. Now we have two options, A or B. A means top down, B is bottom up. So this Caltex will be at the top to get the reports. Now 0 to we have various relationships over here. Reports to or is line supervisor of, now that is another option. Okay, we'll just actually save it. Between types O and relationship A02 is not allowed. Okay. Let me just push and enter over here. Is not allowed. 03 D7. Okay, let me just check this table. 7:30. This is the table. Find maintenance dialog. Continue. Okay, 2 entries are found. Now, what are those 2 entries? Okay, 2 entries are found. Now, what are those 2? Okay, this is empty for some reason because the table is not visible. Let's display this. Okay, now over here we have relationships. 0:1 is a subdivision, reports to 0:2, belongs to 0:4, subordinate, describes 0:7. Okay, and now describe is basically used for job positions, job descriptions. Okay, now A and B, as I told you, again, there is a table format is not visible, so we cannot actually show this. Now 0:7 is basically used for job descriptions, not positions, because job description is always theoretical. But anyways, what we are actually looking at is that we have quite a lot of organizational unit relationships between the higher departments and the lower departments, and that is how we will actually look at it. But again, PO10 Caltex 501376 object change info type. It does not exist because of the relationship. But anyways, what we'll do, create info type. Okay. Caltex global. Save. A proposal for planned relationship B005 is not allowed. Okay. 7 is save. Someone is asking a question. You can ask a question if you want. Yes, Fahad, you want to ask a question? Okay. Let me just re-log in, or let's just continue with our another sub. Okay. Time management. Time management work schedules define public holiday classes. We've already done this, I guess. Time management. Process, calendar. Okay. Those subgroup groupings. Then now this is assign. Okay. Next is holiday classes or Caltex. Caltex. Public holiday calendar, CX. For factory, we can have another calendar. For office, we can have a separate calendar. What we've kept it simple, and we are just going with one variant. But of course, companies will have their own way of defining holiday calendars for their offices. Okay. Personal area. Where do I fit this? Okay. Save. Next. Set work schedule rules and work schedules. Employee subgroup. Position C. High noon. No, I don't need high noon. Benetton. Okay. 77. Best way high noon DG. Okay. What we'll do is we'll just copy it.
इधर आओ देखो कैसे
Employee subgroup grouping.